This week's episode of WWE NXT kicked off with chaos, quite literally, from the moment the show began. Right out of the gate, viewers were thrown into a shocking confrontation when Ober Fay found himself on the receiving end of a brutal ambush from Jasper Troy, a fiery and fearless newcomer from the LFG faction. Before fans even had time to settle in, Ober Fay was slammed violently onto the roof of a car by Jasper in the parking lot. The sheer physicality and surprise of the moment made it an attention-grabbing way to start the show. It immediately set a high-octane tone and got fans emotionally invested from the outset. It also raised an important question that lingered throughout the episode. Would Ober Fay be able to compete at full strength in the main event, or had this pre-match attack already sealed his fate? As the main event arrived later in the evening, the earlier confrontation proved to be only the beginning of what turned into a physically punishing match between Ober Fay and Jasper Troy. Both men seemed determined not only to beat each other, but to leave a lasting impression by dismantling each other and the ring itself. During the match, the violence escalated to such a level that when Jasper hurled Ober Fay into the corner turnbuckles, the second rope completely snapped upon impact, collapsing under the weight and force. This sudden structural failure in the ring caused the show to cut to a commercial break, while the referees and production crew worked swiftly to restore order. Though it's likely this moment was choreographed in advance, there's always an element of unpredictability in professional wrestling that makes even the most rehearsed spots feel dangerously real. When the action resumed, it was clear that both competitors were feeling the toll of the night's brutality, but neither was willing to back down. They continued throwing everything they had at each other in a stiff, hard-hitting battle that kept the audience on edge. However, the match's climax was tainted by a controversial refereeing error. As Ober went for a pinfall attempt, it was blatantly obvious to viewers that Jasper Troy's shoulders remained flat on the mat and had not lifted. Despite this, the referee declared that the shoulder was up, prompting confusion and disappointment. Rather than calling the match in that moment, the competitors quickly transitioned into one final move sequence, after which Ober was awarded the victory. It was a jarring end to what had otherwise been a fantastic contest, and the referee's misjudgment undeniably pulled some of the energy out of the room. While mistakes do happen in wrestling, in this case, it would have made more sense for the official to stick with the original pin and call it as it was. Regardless, Ober Fay emerged victorious, though the win came with an asterisk due to the officiating blunder. Following that intense opening and closing to the show, the rest of the night was filled with significant developments across the board. North American champion Ethan Page was back in action, defending his title in the first official match of the night. His opponent was none other than Shaw Legacy, a rising talent from Evolve, making his NXT television debut. Shaw displayed a commendable level of skill, heart, and confidence throughout the match. He managed to stand toe-to-toe with the more experienced Ethan, and even delivered a few crowd-popping moments that earned him the respect of the audience. However, as expected, Ethan Page proved too dominant and eventually secured the win, retaining his championship. But just as Ethan began to celebrate, he was blindsided by a familiar face, Ricky Saints, a former rival who hadn't been seen on NXT in some time. Ricky stormed the ring and launched a vicious assault on the champion, shocking both the live crowd and commentary. The commentators were quick to point out that they didn't believe Ricky Saints had been medically cleared to compete, which added another layer of drama to the situation. Later backstage, General Manager Ava confronted Ricky and, citing his injury and visible neck patch, ordered him to leave the building immediately. Ricky couldn't even speak in response due to his physical state, but the look in his eyes made it clear. He's targeting Ethan Page, and he won't stop until he gets a match. In a moment that caught fans completely off guard for entirely different reasons, WWE Hall of Famer Shawn Michaels appeared in a backstage segment alongside Mr. Iguana's puppet companion, Liska. The surreal image of the legendary Heartbreak Kid interacting with a puppet was both amusing and endearing. This segment was part of NXT's ongoing collaboration with AAA, and Shawn was formally welcoming several AAA stars to the NXT locker room. The image quickly circulated on social media, becoming a fan-favorite clip from the night and adding a bit of humor and charm to the broadcast. One of the night's most talked about developments came in the form of a vignette spotlighting the arrival of a rebranded performer. Previously known as Mariah May during her AEW tenure, she has now resurfaced in NXT under a new identity, Blake Monroe. The video package that introduced her new persona was a stylized tribute to the glamour and fashion of the 1950s, complete with vintage visuals and dramatic flair. Some online critics were quick to draw comparisons to Toni Storm's timeless character, but to many fans and observers, this presentation had its own unique feel. Rather than being derivative, it seemed like a fresh reinterpretation of classic Hollywood glamour, reimagined through Mariah's new lens. The vignette concluded with the reveal of her new ring name, and social media detectives later discovered that Blake is the name of her niece, suggesting the change had personal significance. Whether symbolic or strategic, this name change marks a clear transition and offers a clean slate as she embarks on her NXT career. Another simmering storyline continued to build as Izzy Dame addressed the NXT universe following her shocking betrayal of Brooks Jensen the previous week. Speaking on behalf of the Culling, she accused Jensen of being the weak link in their group, claiming he was arrogant, distracted, and not committed enough. Shawn Spears, one of the faction's key figures, backed Izzy's comments, praising her for doing what needed to be done. Later in the night, the Culling faced off against the team of Inamura and Josh Briggs in a tag team bout. Thanks in large part to Izzy's presence and strategic interference, the Culling secured the victory. This has led many to speculate that Izzy Dame might be positioning herself as the new leader of the group, a development that could have serious implications moving forward. In another match, Lash Legend squared off against Rance Sinclair in a brief contest. While the match itself wasn't particularly memorable, Lash picked up the win with an unorthodox finishing maneuver that left many scratching their heads. It was a spinning move that ended with her simply sitting down on her opponent. The move was awkward and didn't land well with the crowd or viewers at home. Additionally, Lash's new entrance music received a lukewarm reception, with many fans taking to social media to voice their disapproval. Sometimes a presentation just doesn't click, and Lash may need to reconsider her in-ring style and aesthetic to better connect with the audience. The NXT Women's Championship was also on the line as the reigning champion Jacy Jayne defended her title against Lainey Reed, a relative newcomer who only recently appeared on NXT.